What's up, Sam Ashers, and welcome to the Spotlight. I'm Dave Stutts, and we're here at the Paramount in Huntington, New York, hanging out with Clint from the amazing band Sevendust. Clint, thanks for having us, man. I so appreciate it. Thank you for inviting us into your space.
Oh yeah, man, it's huge, right?
I know. Look at it. It's great. You can't tell, but it goes on for about a mile this way.
There's decadence going on over there.
It's good, and yet it still sounds like a tight room like this.
Yeah,
I like it. Man, the Paramount has it going on.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys are on tour, playing the Paramount tonight. That's very exciting. How's the tour been going for you guys?
Man, it's been great. You know, first off, we always try to tour with bands we like, bands we're fans of, and we try to have a little bit of, try to keep it versatile and, different flavors. And big fans of Tremonti. We've known him for many years, so that was a no-brainer. We love those guys. Cane Hill, I've had my own for a while. I really love their new acoustic kind of EP thing they did. That reminds me of that old Alice in Chains transitional EP they used to put in between their main records. Sure. So they're like doing that, and just and I just kind of vibe on what they do, and just cool guys. And then there's a few others, man. It's just really been cool. I mean, it's just you surround yourself by people you kind of enjoy creatively and personally. So it just makes the tour so much better. If we've learned anything, it's this: like try to make try to create the environment the best you can to just make it painless and make it cool, make it fun. So yeah.
Is it easy to organize that, playing with bands that you like, or is it?
No, not always.
Yeah,
no. Sometimes you just kind of you get the luck of the draw, and there's some bands that do really well, and you'll do well numbers wise, but you don't really gel with personally. Right. But that's okay. When that happens, we just kind of keep to ourselves. We don't bother them, They don't bother us.
So since you're hanging with a bunch of people that you actually enjoy and like listening to, do you guys actually spend time together, or is there just no time for that? It's all work.
It's like this thing. We're doing these guitar clinics and these different things.
I heard about those.
The
VIPs.
Those are going well? They're going cool, man. We've never done it before. I've never been in too many clinical settings, but our brand of I guess clinic it's more about just discussing songwriting techniques and different things like that, and just more of a sit down and just kind of jam with people, other guitar players. So it's been super cool. We don't get a lot of time to hang though. I mean, on days off we'll kind of connect with the other bands and maybe have dinner or something. But that's it. Yeah.
So it sounds like the time that you spend with the bands have also been spent with fans, with like clinics and stuff like that. So it's just been a big gathering of people. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a people person, it's not really the business to be in.
Right.
But it is, man. Like the people have been so kind and sweet and respectful, and we try to give them a good experience. I feel like some of these VIP things can be a little bit like we exploit the fans a little bit for the money aspect, but I think that we try to really take that in consideration, like what would we want the experience to be like, and try to give that to them, make them feel comfortable, make them, feel like their well-earned money is spent, it's not a waste. It's something cool they could take home something from it.
Great. Well, speaking of giving back to the fans, I hear there was recent talk about a new album this year, possibly recording. So in the nonstop rat race of playing and touring and prepping and writing and all that stuff, how do you guys stay inspired after all of these years doing tours, writing music?
Yeah, man, that's like the question, right?
It's tough, right?
It's like, you got 20 years plus of making albums and trying to stay relevant, trying to keep your dynamics together personally as friends and within the band. It's tough, man. I think that finding the inspiration is usually it's one of those things I just love the creative process. I love being in the studio, so that is my favorite part about being in a band. The touring is great and it's fun, but I tend to start missing my family, and you've done it, so you do anything this long, it'll start to wear on you.
Sure.
I still love it. I don't want to downplay the live aspect, but I love in the studio and creating records and the hope and ambition of this is going to be the best record of our career, the pressure of that. I love that. So finding the inspiration isn't hard for me. I like listening to other bands that like stuff that's completely left to center from what we do, and just kind of broadening my horizons a bit, I guess,
That's awesome.
Trying to add more, just evolve a bit without losing our identity.
Sure. That's great.
Yeah.
So we spoke a little bit earlier. You said you have seen a Sam Ash music before.
Yeah.
You've been in one.
Man.
That's
They've been
awesome.
around. Yeah, they're everywhere.
There you go. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate
it. Right.
Thanks. We appreciate it. We've been around since 1924, so
that's
like
crazy,
90 plus years. It's pretty awesome. I think we're celebrating 95 years this year, Ben. Anyway,
95.
my point of that is the
Small
transition.
feet, just a century.
Just a little
Just
bit.
almost
We're
a
working
century.
on it.
Yeah,
Transitioning into gear a little bit. Do you ever find time, no matter what the music store is, to kind of get into a music shop, check out new gear, new effects, new guitars, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, every now and then I'll be like, the funny thing about music stores, and especially like with the Sam Ash, is like you walk in and I forget. I'm kind of in a bubble out here, and as far as the gear, there's so much online content. You can discover new pedals,
True.
and people are always doing these tutorials. And there's a bunch of stuff out there. But when you go into the music, I love the music store experience. Like when I was a kid, I lived there, so it was like you meet like a cool, rep that works there, and they just kind of really show you the new stuff. And like, oh man, it's like, it's toys. It's adult toys for us. Like not in the sense that you probably think of me, but it's more of like, I just like there's so many cool pedals and everything. Every time I go to one, I'm like, why don't I come more? Why don't I try to discover more gear? Because I think that's another way to stay inspired, is having new pedals, new stomp boxes, new effects or ways to run it, just to keep you inspired in the process, make your tone better, just so you can play better.
Absolutely.
And make you want to play longer,
Right.
Yeah.
So remembering back to those days when you were a kid, going into the music stores and just, seeing everything and feeling that magic in music. Do you remember the first instrument you ever had?
Oh yeah. Well, I was a drummer first. I was too poor to actually have a drum set. I had my eye on this Pearl with the red pasties or pasties, however you say it. So I couldn't get that, and so I got an Area Pro 2 guitar and a Marshall Lead 20 amp. And back then, those were the days where you didn't know how to dial your gain down. So between every note, there was this like local band feedback, that would happen. And so that was the first amp I had and the first guitar. And I remember it, very clearly, and just that feeling of having this new gear at home and waking up and having this new item. It was like shiny red. I remember picking it up and putting stuff on layaway, and then mowing yards and doing the down payment, and then the final day when you bring it home, it's a cool experience, man.
That is so cool to hear you say, because I remember for about 2 or 3 years I mowed lawns, got $20 a lawn, and I went in and finally upgraded and got an Area Pro 2 myself, and I still have it to this day.
I've never heard anyone talk about those.
Oh, you kidding, man? I love it. I think it's like the PE series or something like that, made in Korea. It's like a thin Les Paul shape, and it's gorgeous. I love it. Do you still have yours?
No, but I know the guy that has it. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
So if you ever want it back?
I'm going to try to get it back. He knows I want it, so I can't be too desperate. So if he ever watches this, I'm sorry, man. Give it back.
Come on, man. Give him back his guitar.
Oh, yeah.
So just staying in the same vein as gear and stuff like that, one of the questions we love to ask, because I just think it's so informative. So studio gear versus the touring live gear. Right. How different is it? How similar is it?
Well, I mean, this day and age, we use, we've played EVH for a long time, and they're incredible amps, but I got introduced to the Kempers, and I just I love amp profiling. I love the efficiency of it. And now before, like the studio rig and the live rig were a lot different, because there would be these different assortments of amps. We would layer with, like, you'd have a diesel and you'd have a EVH, or you'd have a PRS Archon with orange, you do all those different kind of combinations in the studio, trying to find that secret magic tone. Whereas you would go on tour and play what amp you were endorsing. So now the Kemper is kind of allowing us, even in the studio, and a lot of producers lean on it a lot more now. So that those worlds are kind of just becoming one. It's like there's so much you can do with the Kemper in and outside of the studio that has just been really efficient for us, and that's kind of where we're at right now. So nothing much different from the live and the studio stuff. We'll still pull the amps out, and we'll go for the amp, the purist, trying to get the tubes and all those traditional tones. But it's hard to argue how simple it is to plug in a Kemper and just immediately get something that's workable.
Yeah, they're great, man. So versatile, easy to dial in. It's just getting easier and easier.
Yeah.
That's great.
Almost too easy.
Yeah. So speaking of gear, is there any like holy grail piece of gear that you've been looking at, chasing all these years?
Man, there's not. I'm not a tremendous gear collector. There's a few stomp boxes that I just think the world of, like a Micro Synth or Big Muffs. Those things are always good. I'm a huge PRS. I've always played PRSs, but it's always cool to kind of every now and then to play a Strat or a Tele. as far as one individual piece of gear, there's nothing that that stands out as like the thing I really want to own. But again, it's just my exposure. I need to get around. There's these things that I'll see when I'm talking to other guitar players. They'll talk about, you have to get this. This is crucial to your your lifestyle as a guitar player. So I'm like, those things come out. There's nothing individually that I'm just like, I gotta have it. I mean, I pretty much have access to whatever I need, but not to say that there's not these things that I want to discover. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I wish there was some kind of magical. Oh yeah, the pick of destiny. I would love that. Give me that thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Clint, we're going to let you go. We know there's a lot to do today, but on behalf of all of us, we hope you have an incredible show tonight.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you stopping in. Appreciate you bringing us in. But we are going to let you in things right here. If you want to tell fans where they can keep up with you, what's new, anything you want to say.
All right, cool. Clint with Sevendust. We have a new album. All I See Is War. It's not really new, but it's out, and go grab that. I'm actually doing a solo record. I'm going to record it in June. It's going to come out in 2020. I'm really excited about that. It'll be on Rise Records, same label that Sevendust has. Please keep coming to shows. Keep going to Sam Ash. Keep keeping retail and live performances alive. I mean, we need both of them to survive. So much love, guys. Thanks.